Welcome, I'm Nastasha, the New York City Gardener. And so today I am doing my first live Q&A. I get lots of questions on my videos and I try to answer them the best that I can, but then sometimes I feel like I'm writing a novel or like I can't really talk about the context or there's just so many different aspects of gardening and answering a question. There's so many different variables. So I thought I would do some live Q&As to where I can dive deeper into these questions and hopefully help out. My main goal is for New Yorkers to begin growing their own food. So that's what I'm here to try to do today. So let's go through. I have a few questions here, 5 questions. And yeah, I'll also link all the videos, up so if you want to check those out, you can. So the first question is, I saw this video and immediately subscribed. So thank you. I live in the Bronx and I decided that I'm going to begin growing my own food, my own produce in my apartment. I have one question. Do you utilize a UV light if growing indoors? So yes, I do use lights when I grow indoors. I just want to fix this so I can see a little bit better. Okay. So yes, first of all, I just want to say it's incredible that you're growing food in the Bronx indoors with no outdoor space. And I'm so proud of you and congratulations and go for it, please. That's amazing. What I also want to say is I don't use UV lights. I use full spectrum grow lights. I have all different kinds of lights. So there are a lot of options. I have all of the ones that I've tested are on my website, so I can link that down below if you want to check those out. But it kind of depends on what you're looking for, what you're growing. There's a lot of factors here. But generally speaking, let's say that you want to just grow some herbs. You could do that on like a sunny windowsill. Like if you have a south-facing window, you could do that. And you'll get some growth. But if you want a lot more stuff growing, I would definitely get something that has a lot of high red and blue. So when you're on Amazon, you're looking at lights, they should have a chart that says, this has a lot of red, this has a lot of blue, and then you want to make sure that you have a light that's covering those 2 wavelengths, because that's what plants want. They need different light than like we do. Now, one of the issues is if the red and blue is too high, then it can make the color like a pink purple, and that can be hard on the eye. So I have those lights too, and I don't really like using them. So, you can test things out. And also if you don't like it, just return it. You always have 30 days on Amazon to return things. So I'll just link a bunch of lights down below. So my second question we have here is, I'm trying to start my garden. Please, do you have any tips? So yes, of course. First of all, very proud of you for getting started. But yeah, I would start small. I would start with maybe just 1 or 2 containers, maybe like a 5-gallon. Let's assume you're growing outside. I would start with maybe like a 5-gallon and maybe a 3-gallon. And with this 5-gallon, you could put 1 tomato plant in there, get tons of tomatoes, and be very happy with what you did this year. You could put in a basil plant, some lettuce on top. You can really kind of mix in, maybe put like an edible flower in there. So in a 5-gallon container, you can grow a lot of food. And that'd be a great starting point. Then I would maybe get like a 3-gallon pot and I would grow like a pepper plant in there. Maybe your favorite pepper, whether it's shishitos or, jalapenos, whatever. I would test that out. And then that way you can see if you like gardening, I think everybody likes gardening. Everybody likes being out in nature with plants, but you don't want to spend all this money and then be like, God, I don't even like doing this. I don't want to be out in the sun, Then you just want to test things out first. And then I would focus on really 3 things for just getting started. So the soil quality really matters. Make sure you're sticking to potting soil. Don't just go grab soil from, New York City, somewhere random. Make sure you're buying bags of potting soil. I can link those down below too, so you can check it out. And lighting is really important. So if you have an outdoor space, then you need at least 6 hours of sun for most crops. So you want to make sure that you have that, so you don't have too much shade. Inside, I would definitely have grow light. So, and we just talked about that a little bit, so I would just focus on that. just get something that's going to help your plants. You're just going to get more produce with more light, because that's what feeds them, and that's what allows them to grow. Watering is super important, so you don't want to overwater, you don't want to underwater. I still have these issues of overwatering and underwatering, so just test things out. If you fail, it's not a big deal. You just keep trying again. But I feel like that would be a great starting point for you. Another thing I just want to say is, grow what you're actually going to eat. I always end up with too much of certain crops that I'm just not eating enough. Like I had 2 parsley plants last year, and we just don't eat parsley. So I'm just like, why am I growing parsley if we don't eat it? It's just taking up space. I could be growing something else. So make sure you actually want to eat the crop that you're growing. Yeah, I think those are good beginner steps. So then someone said, what kind of soil did you use for a beautiful garden? Very sweet. So we can kind of go back to this again, but potting soil is very important. There's when you go to Home Depot, there's tons of bags of soil, but you want the bag that says potting soil. That's the only soil that you should be buying if you live in New York City. Even if you have a backyard, I recommend only doing containers, because you just don't. There's so many chemicals and lead and everything like that in the ground in New York City that we need to make sure that we know the health of our soil before we put crops in there, and then they soak up those nutrients and then we eat it. So always stick with potting soil. Now, also for me, this is probably the next level up is every year I amend my soil. So I do that in spring and in the fall. So I'm going to be doing that actually pretty soon, probably next week. So I add worm castings, organic compost, mushroom compost, and azomite, which are trace minerals. I do that twice a year, just to make sure that whatever was in that soil last time, whatever's depleted is getting, fed again. So yeah, I'll do that like March and September in preparation for my fall garden. And I only do the azomite in the spring. I don't do that in the fall too. Now, another thing that I do every year, which again, this is like, maybe level 3, is you can buy soil tests and soil kits, and you can test your soil, so you get a nice collection, and then you can mail it off. They test it for you, and then there'll be something online where you can see, I don't have enough nitrogen, or I have too much potassium, or whatever it is. So it's very helpful to see if you're growing a lot of tomatoes, you're probably going to be low in nitrogen. I kind of already know that, but it's still nice to do the test just to see how the garden's doing. So the question number 4, so do birds ever destroy your plants? I live in Brooklyn and thinking of starting a rooftop garden, but I'm scared the birds and squirrels will destroy it. Any tips? So I am, knock on wood, but I don't have those issues. I think I don't have squirrels because I think we're too high up. And birds, I just don't see birds up here. And I don't know if they're just here before I wake up and they are taking little snacks. I'm not sure, but I don't have issues with birds. So I'm very grateful for that. But I will tell you, I do know people that have had these issues. So I have one friend who lives in Brooklyn and Greenpoint. He and his roommate have a rooftop garden, and his roommate feeds the pigeons. So, we can disagree or agree on whether you should be feeding pigeons, but she feeds them. It's very sweet. So the pigeons obviously will eat their crops. So then what they did is they built a chicken wire, 3-foot tall, box around it. So I don't know, it's probably 8 feet wide or 8 feet long. I don't know, 4 feet wide, 3 feet tall, something like that. So you could do something like that, and that way that prevents anything from getting in there. If you're handy, I'm not really handy enough to do something like that, but if you are, that could be helpful. Then I have another friend who lived on the 5th floor, had a balcony, and squirrels were constantly eating his cherry tomatoes, and he was really, really upset about it. I don't think he really had a solution for it, so I just kind of see it as a way of you just sort of need to share a little bit, But my big thing is I just don't want that fear of, what if potentially an animal eats my crops. It's like, let's just cross that bridge when we get there. I've never had that fear. I've never worried about it. I definitely have other issues, so I don't have issues with my garden. I do. But I would say just go for it first. And then, if you deal with that later, why don't you come back to me, comment on something, let me know, and then I can research, we can figure out solutions. But just don't let it stop you. Just go for it. Just go for it, and then we can deal with the problems as they go. That's basically how I've always treated this. So the last question I had today, this is going to be a short Q&A. It's just my first one, and hopefully the camera's working and everything. I don't even know if you guys are commenting or saying anything or what. So this is my first one here. But so the last question is, not in my hands, plants die around me. It's not technically a question, but I had posted a video about growing mint, and I was saying anyone can grow mint. And a lot of times people they grow mint so well that it just takes over their yard. So you can accidentally grow too much mint. So that's basically what I was saying. And she says, plants die around me. And so I just don't like this comment. I wanted to say that it's just a poor belief system, in my opinion. I think that I want to talk about a little bit about how to get rid of that belief system, because I do hear this from a lot of people. Oh, I have a brown thumb, or I can't keep anything alive. And it's just, number one, cancel. I'm just a big believer of any kind of negative thoughts like that, just cancel. Our thoughts don't mean anything. The thoughts are just happening on their own, just like the heart is beating on its own, the lungs are breathing on their own. We don't have to take in every single thought and believe it. So first of all, cancel. Then I just like to kind of fake it till I make it first, in a way. So kind of just sort of pretending you can kind of trick your mind a little bit by saying, man, I love plants, and plants love me, and I'm so good at growing plants, and I'm grateful that I have so many plants in my apartment, or whatever. And I think this is kind of a way to believe it before you see it, and it's a way of getting through these negative belief systems. You may not believe it at first, and especially if it's super ingrained. I mean, this woman, or girl, had this idea, saw my video, had the idea, and then typed it as a comment. So it just confirms the belief system. And that's why I really wanted to talk about this one, because I want to eliminate that belief system that plants die around you. So yeah, that's just the mental things that we want to be mindful of. Then if we go to the practical stuff, because I know some people, they don't believe in this or whatever, in this mental games that we can play with ourselves. But if we're going to go into practical reasons why plants die around you, is I would say three things. So not enough light, which is a big theme we've talked about this whole Q&A, overwatering, and underwatering. So I would start with those three things. I don't know the specific situation, but let's say, you buy a plant, you buy some basil at Trader Joe's, and you bring it home, and then it dies, and you're just like, what happened? Well, did it die a day later? Did it die a week later? Did it die 6 months later? I mean, basil plants don't live forever. So if it just, if it died 6 months later, you didn't kill the plant. That's just the end of the lifespan. But did you overwater it? Were there not drainage holes in the bottom? Did you underwater it? Did you forget about it? Well, then maybe set up a timer, or a schedule to say, okay, every week I'm going to water my basil, or every week I'm going to check the top and make sure the soil's not too dry. And then make sure you have enough light, which is very consistent what we've been talking about. I have so many grow lights. I'm just looking around right now. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 grow lights just right here. So there's nothing wrong with having plenty of grow lights, and then it just helps the plants, especially in the winter, or if you live in a basement. I have a friend who lives in a basement, has no windows, so you definitely need a grow light. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that a little bit, just to get this stuff going, because I'm trying to answer people's questions. I'm a very small channel. I'm just getting started. Don't really know what I'm doing yet, but also cancel, because I am so grateful I know what I'm doing. And I wanted to just get on here and talk about some of these things that I'm seeing, consistent themes, and gardening is not rocket science. It's actually it's pretty easy. You just need to know a few things, do a little bit of research, try, fail. I mean, I've had plants that have died, so no big deal, just keep going. I'm like, okay, I will learn from that lesson. Oh, I realized I was overwatering that plant, or it didn't have any drainage holes, or it didn't have enough drainage holes, or, the soil got too soggy, or, or it got too dry. There's so many different things that can happen. So then I just learn as I go and then move on. So I think that's it for today. I have a lot more questions, but I just wanted to get on here and practice. So yeah, if you have any questions, you can always comment on a video, and I can add those to the future live Q&As. And if you like this kind of content, just comment or give a like, give a subscribe, something. Just let me know that you like it. So it's, this is like the kind of stuff that you guys want to see. I'm just testing things out, so we'll see how it goes. In the meantime, let's keep growing, and I'll see you in the next one.